your thoughts? And I know it's hot in here, by the way.
Yeah. So I strongly believe that we should approach the problem of gender ideology through the perspective of religious freedom, or more importantly, freedom from religion. Gender ideology is just another irrational, faith-based worldview, albeit a young and godless one. It operates like any fundamentalist religion, and we are all being coerced into attending its church. Like any fundamentalist religion, free speech is the first thing to go. We see this in the mantra of no debate, which is preached to us from the pulpits of the most influential trans activist organisations. Women obviously get the short straw from religion, and this new gender religion is no exception, as it erodes away the hard-won rights to single-sex spaces. You'll also have noticed it's very quick to dish out violence, threats and intimidation whenever women attempt to gather in public and speak freely about this issue. Fundamentalists used to call these women witches, and now they call them TERFs. Gender ideology is also brazenly anti-science, much in the way young Earth creationism is. The central tenets of this ideology completely contradict science, in fact. It preaches that human sex exists on a spectrum, rather than the clear male or female binary that it is. And in the most egregious way, in my opinion, it also teaches to small children that it's possible to be born in the wrong body, something akin to a gendered soul. You cannot, of course, be born in the wrong body. You are your body. The disciples of genderism, is it genderati? I'm going to steal that.
The disciple of genderati.
The disciples of genderism also have their own blasphemy codes. They don't use the word blasphemy, of course. They kind of backdoor it in with words like transphobia, dead naming, misgendering, things like that. But there is good news. Just like any worldview that's completely untethered from reality, it will eventually implode under the weight of its own demands for purity and inevitably descend into sectarianism. Because even the most devout disciples of gender ideology cannot hope to satisfy its ever-changing commandments and dogmas. Just take a moment to consider the fact that the leadership of Pink News has just recently been accused of transphobia by former staff and their own readership. So, I mean, what chance do the rest of us have if Pink News aren't considered pious enough? I'm actually quite annoyed with Pink News on a personal level. They once ran an article about me that described me as, and I quote, an anti-trans YouTuber. I couldn't believe it. Fucking YouTuber. So there is good news. Like I said, it will implode under the weight of its own inconsistencies. But the obsession with controlling our language is also a staple of default authoritarianism. In Orwell's 1984, the party believes that the revolution will be complete just as soon as the language is perfect. So if we all just agree to announce our pronouns, accept the label cis, and memory hold the word women in place of terms like birthing people, menstruators, we will finally enter a sort of gender paradise. These impositions are actually sold to us under the guise of politeness and inclusivity. Yet you'll notice how quickly those principles of politeness and inclusion go out the window the moment you resist. Because this has nothing to do with being inclusive and everything to do with control. They think that if they can control how we speak, they can control how we think. But unlike more esoteric problems, gender ideology has one huge weakness at its core, and it's this: we all know what a man and a woman is. This ability to distinguish between the sexes is innate and has been gifted to us by thousands upon thousands of years of human evolution. Yet the party is telling us to reject the evidence of our eyes and ears. My home team of atheism won't save us either. Organised atheism has been utterly useless on this issue too, especially stateside. Because when children were being taught in schools that the Earth was only 6,000 years old and that Charles Darwin was wrong, atheist activists were rightly incensed. Yet if you teach those same children that human beings can change sex, or they may have been born in the wrong body, these same atheist organisations go missing, or worse, excommunicate Richard Dawkins for noticing the problem. The answer to these issues is not an atheist utopia, nor a resurgence of monotheism. The answer is good, old-fashioned, staunch secular liberalism. And it's these very principles that rightly afford trans people the rights that everyone has, whilst also empowering the rest of us to say, I do not wish to participate in your identity or beliefs. So I think I need to be clear that my criticism of trans ideology shouldn't be misinterpreted as an attack on trans people. The overwhelming majority of people causing trouble in this area are non-trans activists anyway. And just as we are clear to distinguish between decent Muslims and Christians from the fundamentalists within their faith, we should also distinguish between the deranged activist and the trans people who want to live their lives without any desire to impose anything on anyone. So to finish on an optimistic note, yes, the end is in sight, but it isn't a problem that will take care of itself. It's going to take every one of us finding the confidence to say no thank you, wherever this ideology finds you, and it will find you. Now, I imagine the kind of people here today are not particularly shy about speaking their mind. However, some of you may still be quietly waiting for that perfect moment to stick your head above the parapet. You may be living a double life where you keep your gender opinions to yourself until you get home. I call this the observe on the streets and turf in the sheets mentality. You may think that the huge scandals that have rocked the headlines, such as the Tavistock or Cass Review or male prisoners being housed with women, or the fact that a man just won a gold Olympic medal for punching women in the face. You think that might have been the tipping point, but the truth is these scandals will just keep coming if people that understand the problem continue to bite their tongue. So now is the time to look the disciples of gender ideology in the eye and let them know you're a non-believer. More people agree with you than you know. So I'll quickly leave you with some encouragement from the great late Christopher Hitchens, who said, never be a spectator of unfairness or stupidity. The grave will supply plenty of time for silence. Thank you.